When someone wrongs you, the natural instinct is to strike back. The desire for revenge burns like a fire inside, demanding justice, demanding that they feel the pain they inflicted on you. It feels personal. It feels like you need to do something, say something, or act in a way that makes them regret ever crossing you. But here's the truth that most people don't realize. Revenge is not power. Revenge is an illusion. It tricks you into thinking that by getting even, you will gain control. But in reality, all it does is keep you locked in a cycle of negativity, giving the person who hurt you more influence over your emotions and your actions than they deserve. When you seek revenge, you are still emotionally attached to the situation. You are still carrying the weight of what they did. Your energy, your thoughts, your time, all of it becomes consumed by them. Even if you think you're in control, you're not. Because true control isn't about retaliation, it's about rising above it. When you allow yourself to be ruled by the need for payback, you are allowing them to dictate your state of mind. You are allowing them to shape your emotions, and in that moment, you are no longer operating from a place of strength. Most people think of revenge as a way to balance the scales, to correct an injustice, but in reality, it keeps you tied to the very thing you want to move past. It doesn't free you, it chains you. It keeps your mind stuck in the past, reliving the pain, replaying the betrayal, and strategizing ways to make the other person suffer just as much as you did. But what happens when you finally get your revenge? Maybe they feel the sting. Maybe they see your pain reflected back at them. But does it erase what happened? Does it undo the damage? Does it bring you peace? Or does it leave you feeling just as empty, just as exhausted, just as drained, except now you've wasted even more of your time and energy? When you focus on revenge, you stop focusing on yourself. You become consumed with proving something to someone who, in most cases, isn't even worth your attention. You lower yourself to their level, engaging in the same toxicity that they brought into your life in the first place. You may think you're punishing them, but in reality, you're only punishing yourself. The mind that is focused on revenge is not a mind that is growing, evolving, or succeeding. It is a mind that is trapped. People who seek revenge don't realize that they are feeding their enemy exactly what they want: attention. The worst thing you can do to someone who has tried to break you is to show them that they still matter to you. The fact that you are plotting, scheming, thinking of ways to make them feel your pain means that they still have a hold over you. And that is what they want. Because as long as you are focused on them, you are not focused on yourself. Think about the most successful people in the world. Do they spend their energy on payback, on proving points, on wasting time, chasing closure that will never come? No. They take what happened to them and use it as fuel to build themselves. They rise above it. They walk away from the pettiness and channel their energy into something greater. They don't let pain turn them bitter. They let it make them better. When you choose not to seek revenge, you are not being weak. You are being powerful. You are showing that you are in complete control of your emotions, that you are untouchable, that you refuse to be manipulated by circumstances outside of yourself. It's easy to react. It's easy to lash out. It's easy to let your emotions dictate your actions, but it takes real strength to hold back. It takes real power to walk away. Your silence is stronger than any act of retaliation. Your growth is the ultimate response. Your ability to move on, to become successful, to become someone they never thought you could be, that is the coldest revenge. Because nothing disturbs people more than seeing you unaffected. Nothing confuses them more than realizing that their betrayal, their disrespect, their attempts to break you didn't work. The moment you stop seeking revenge, you free yourself. You take back your power. You redirect your focus to things that actually matter. You remove their influence over you. You stop feeding the energy they created and instead create your own. Revenge may feel satisfying in the short term, but it keeps you stuck in the same toxic cycle. Walking away, detaching, growing, that is what truly sets you apart. That is what truly makes you untouchable. People thrive on reactions. They want to know that they've affected you, that they've gotten under your skin, that their words or actions have left a mark. This is why so many people provoke, manipulate, and push buttons. They are looking for a response. They want confirmation that they still have a hold on you, that they still exist in your mind. But what happens when you refuse to give them that satisfaction? What happens when you don't react, when you don't engage, when you don't give them the fuel they need to keep going? That is when you take all the power away from them. Silence is one of the most powerful weapons you have, yet most people underestimate it. They think that to win, they must always have the last word, always prove their point, always show that they are in control. But control isn't about speaking. It's about knowing when to stay silent. When you remove yourself from unnecessary conflict, when you stop engaging in meaningless battles, when you refuse to validate someone's attempts to pull you into negativity, you create an energy of strength that cannot be touched. People don't expect silence. They expect anger, arguments, explanations. They expect you to fight for your dignity, to defend yourself, to try and change their perception of you. But when you simply walk away, when you choose not to respond, you leave them with nothing to hold on to. There is nothing more unsettling than being ignored, especially when someone is expecting a reaction. When someone insults you, disrespects you, or tries to make you feel small, they are counting on you to defend yourself, to get upset, to react emotionally. But when you don't, when you stay calm and collected, they are the ones who feel powerless. They are the ones left questioning themselves. They are the ones who sit with the weight of their own actions because you have given them nothing in return. People expect you to care. They expect you to explain yourself, to justify your silence, to show them that their words and actions still hold weight in your life. But when you refuse to engage, you take that weight away. You make it clear that their presence, their thoughts, their opinions do not matter to you. And that is what truly gets to them. Because silence is not weakness, it is control. It is the ultimate statement. It is saying, I do not need to lower myself to your level. I do not need to prove anything to you. I do not need to waste my energy on something that does not serve me. Silence is powerful because it forces people to sit with their own thoughts. When you engage with someone, you give them a way to justify their behavior. If they hurt you and you react, they can shift the blame onto you. They can manipulate the situation. They can twist the narrative. But when you don't react, they are left alone with their actions. They are forced to think about what they did, about why you aren't responding, about what that means. And that silence, that unanswered space, becomes louder than any words you could have spoken. Growth is the ultimate response, because it shows that you are not stuck in the same cycle as them. It shows that you have moved on, that you have redirected your energy, that you are investing in yourself instead of wasting time on things that no longer matter. When people try to bring you down, they are hoping that you will stay at their level. They do not expect you to rise above it, but when you do, when you focus on becoming better, on improving your life, on leveling up in ways they never imagined, that is when they truly feel it. Growth means that you are no longer controlled by your emotions. It means that you understand that revenge, anger, and resentment do nothing but hold you back. It means that you have chosen to use your energy wisely, to invest in yourself rather than waste it on people who do not deserve it. It means that instead of trying to prove anything to them, you have turned inward and decided to build something greater for yourself. When people see you thriving, when they see you happy, successful, unbothered, that is when they realize they have lost. That is when they start questioning themselves. That is when they understand that their attempts to hurt you have only pushed you to become stronger. Because the best response is no response. The best revenge is not revenge at all, but elevation, growth, success, becoming the person they never thought you could be. Most people live their lives constantly looking over their shoulders, thinking about what others think of them, worrying about how they are perceived, and seeking validation in ways that only drain them. They operate from a place of reaction rather than intention. When someone disrespects them, they feel an immediate urge to respond, to set the record straight, to prove themselves. But the truth is, the strongest people in this world don't operate like that. They don't live for reactions. They don't live for validation. They move with purpose, they move in silence, and they let their success do all the talking. There is nothing more powerful than a person who refuses to be affected by negativity. When you refuse to engage in pointless arguments, when you refuse to react to disrespect, when you refuse to give energy to things that are beneath you, you become untouchable. Because people who try to hurt you are not doing it for their own satisfaction. They are doing it for your reaction. They are doing it because they want to see you affected. They want to know that they have an impact on you. They want to confirm that they have power over your emotions. But when you don't give them that satisfaction, they are left with nothing. Moving in silence means understanding that your greatest power is in what people don't see coming. It means that you do not owe explanations, you do not owe reactions, and you certainly do not owe anyone the privilege of knowing how you feel. Most people think that being loud, being aggressive, or being confrontational makes them strong. But in reality, true strength is in restraint. True power is in knowing when to say nothing at all. When you move in silence, when you take your energy and focus it on yourself, instead of wasting it on those who do not deserve it, you create an energy around you that is unshakable. There is nothing more unsettling than a person who cannot be read. When people expect you to react, when they expect you to engage and you don't, they begin to question themselves. They start wondering why you are unbothered. They start questioning whether they ever had an impact on you in the first place. And that is when the power shifts. Because the moment you stop playing their game, the moment you step out of the cycle of reaction is the moment you win. People will try to provoke you because they want to feel important in your life. They want to see that they still have access to your emotions. But when you move in silence, when you continue living your life without acknowledging them, they lose. They are forced to sit with their own actions. They are forced to wonder what you are thinking, what you are planning, what you are doing. And that is far more powerful than any response you could give. There is a reason why the most successful people in this world do not waste time on petty arguments or meaningless confrontations. They understand that time is their most valuable resource. They understand that their energy is sacred. They understand that every moment spent thinking about someone who does not matter is a moment wasted. That is why they choose to invest their energy in things that actually matter, in growth, in success, in self-improvement. When you focus on yourself, when you put all of your energy into building your life instead of reacting to those who try to bring you down, you create a future that speaks for itself. You no longer need to prove anything to anyone. Your success becomes the answer. Your peace becomes the response. Your growth becomes the ultimate statement. Nothing confuses people more than a person who refuses to be affected. When they see you thriving, when they see you happy, when they see that their words and actions have had no impact on your life, they begin to feel their own insignificance. They begin to realize that they never had power over you in the first place. That is the ultimate form of control. That is true power. That is how you take back everything they try to take from you. The mind is the battlefield where every war is either won or lost. Most people don't even realize it, but every thought they entertain, every emotion they allow to take root, every reaction they give away freely is shaping their reality. The reason so many people remain stuck in cycles of anger, pain, and resentment is that they never take control of their own minds. They let other people dictate how they feel. They allow external circumstances to determine their internal state. And in doing so, they hand over their power without even realizing it. But the truth is, control is not something that is given. It is something that is taken. It is something that must be claimed, owned, and protected. And it all starts with mastering your emotions. Emotional control is not about suppressing how you feel. It's not about pretending that pain doesn't exist or acting like you are unaffected by the things that happen around you. It is about understanding that emotions are temporary, but actions are permanent. It is about knowing that every reaction you give is a choice, and every choice you make shapes the future that awaits you. When someone disrespects you, when someone betrays you, when someone tries to provoke you, the easy thing to do is react. The natural thing to do is to lash out to defend yourself, to prove a point. But what does that actually accomplish? Nothing. It only proves that they still have power over you. It shows them that they can still control your emotions, that they can still get under your skin. And the moment someone realizes they can control you emotionally, they will never stop trying to. Mastering your emotions means understanding that some battles are not worth fighting. Some things are beneath you. Some reactions are a waste of your energy, not because you are weak, not because you are incapable of responding, but because you know that your energy is too valuable to be spent on things that do not serve your growth. It is about realizing that not every insult requires a response. Not every betrayal requires revenge. And not every loss. Sometimes silence is the strongest statement you can make. Sometimes walking away is the boldest move you can take. Sometimes refusing to engage is the most powerful form of control you can exercise. When you master your emotions, you stop being predictable. People can no longer manipulate you because they can no longer read you. They don't know what makes you angry, what makes you sad, what makes you react. And that uncertainty drives them crazy. Because most people thrive on predictability. They want to know that if they push a certain button, they will get a certain reaction. But when you become emotionally disciplined, you take that power away from them. You make it impossible for them to control you. And that is when you truly become untouchable. Think about the people in your life who have wronged you. The ones who lied to you, betrayed you, disrespected you. Now ask yourself, what would hurt them more? Seeing you angry, bitter, and stuck in the past, or seeing you happy, successful, and unbothered? The answer is obvious. Nothing is more painful for someone who tried to break you than realizing they failed. Nothing is more frustrating for someone who wanted to see you suffer than watching you thrive instead. That is why emotional mastery is the highest form of revenge. Because it shows that no matter what they did, no matter what they said, no matter how much they tried to bring you down, they did not win. But emotional mastery is not just about dealing with negativity. It is about taking control of every aspect of your life. It is about being able to make decisions from a place of wisdom rather than impulse. It is about being able to stay focused on your goals regardless of the distractions around you. It is about learning to manage stress, pressure, and setbacks in a way that keeps you moving forward rather than holding you back. And once you develop that level of control, you will start to see a shift in every area of your life. Your relationships will change because you will no longer tolerate toxic behavior. Your career will improve because you will no longer waste time on meaningless drama. Your peace of mind will grow because you will no longer allow external circumstances to dictate your internal state. When you control your emotions, you control your life. When you control your life, you control your future. And when you control your future, there is nothing anyone can do to stop you. There is a fundamental truth about life that most people fail to grasp. Energy is currency. Every interaction you have, every conversation you engage in, every thought you entertain is either depositing into or withdrawing from your energy reserves. The problem is that most people spend their energy recklessly. They invest it in meaningless conflicts, they waste it on people who do not deserve access to them, and they deplete themselves reacting to things that hold no real significance in the grand scheme of their lives. And then they wonder why they feel drained, why they feel stuck, why they cannot seem to move forward. The answer is simple. They have been giving their energy away to things that do not serve them. Energy is sacred. It is the fuel that powers everything you do, your ambitions, your growth, your success, your peace. But when you allow yourself to be consumed by petty arguments, by emotional reactions, by proving yourself to people who do not matter, you are robbing yourself of the very thing that could be building your future. Every time you engage in negativity, every time you entertain drama, every time you react out of impulse rather than intention, you are spending energy that could have been used to advance your goals. And that is why the most powerful thing you can do is learn to protect your energy at all costs. Protecting your energy is not about being passive. It is not about avoiding conflict because you are afraid of confrontation. It is about recognizing that not every battle is worth fighting. It is about understanding that your time, your focus, your mental clarity are too valuable to be spent on things that do not contribute to your growth. When you get to a certain level of awareness, you begin to realize that arguing with people who misunderstand you is a waste of time. Trying to convince someone of your worth is a waste of time. Seeking revenge on those who hurt you is a waste of time. Because while you are busy focusing on them, they are living their lives. And every second you spend on them is a second you are not spending on yourself. There is a reason why successful people do not get involved in unnecessary drama. It is not because they are incapable of responding. It is not because they are weak. It is because they understand that their energy is better spent elsewhere. They know that every action they take must be a strategic investment into their future. They do not react to every slight. They do not engage with every insult. They do not waste time proving themselves to people who are beneath them. Instead, they remain focused on their vision, and they let their success be their response. The moment you stop giving energy to things that do not serve you, your entire life begins to shift. You become more productive. You become more at peace. You begin to see opportunities that you were previously blind to because you were too distracted by meaningless conflicts. Your mind becomes clearer, your emotions become more stable, and your sense of purpose becomes stronger. And the people who once tried to bring you down, they begin to realize that they no longer have access to you. They begin to see that they have lost the ability to affect you. And that realization is more powerful than any words you could ever say to them. But protecting your energy is not just about ignoring negativity. It is about being intentional with where you place your focus. It is about surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, who challenge you, who inspire you. It is about spending your time on things that align with your goals and values. It is about feeding your mind with knowledge, your body with strength, and your soul with peace. Because when you invest your energy wisely, it multiplies. When you give your energy to things that elevate you, you rise. And when you rise, you become untouchable. The hardest lesson to learn in life is that not everything deserves your response. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not every situation requires your involvement. Sometimes the best thing you can do is simply move forward. Not because you do not care, not because you are unaffected, but because you understand that your energy is too valuable to be wasted. And the moment you adopt that mindset, you will begin to see just how much power you truly have. Silence is the most powerful move you can make when faced with negativity, betrayal, or disrespect. It is the move that unsettles, confuses, and ultimately weakens those who seek to control, manipulate, or provoke you. Most people live in reaction mode. They are wired to respond to every insult, every provocation, every slight against them. They think that speaking louder, fighting back, proving a point, or seeking revenge will somehow restore their power. But in reality, reacting only shows that they are still emotionally tied to the situation. The more energy you give to a person or situation, the more control it has over you. And that is why silence is the ultimate power move. It is not a sign of weakness. It is the highest form of self-mastery. When you remain silent, you communicate something far greater than words ever could. You show that you are unbothered. You show that their actions, their words, their attempts to hurt you have failed. The person who stays silent is the one who maintains control. When someone expects a reaction from you, be it anger, sadness, or revenge, and they receive nothing, it unsettles them. They begin to question themselves. They begin to wonder why their usual tactics no longer work. They start to feel powerless because they realize that they no longer have access to your emotions. And that is where true power lies. Not in controlling others, but in controlling yourself. Silence creates a void, and in that void, people reveal who they really are. When you refuse to engage in drama, the other person will often show their true nature. They will either escalate their behavior, trying harder and harder to get a reaction out of you, or they will eventually fade away, realizing they no longer have control over you. Either way, you win, because you have maintained your dignity, your energy, and your peace of mind. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. They see it as emptiness, as weakness, as avoidance. But in reality, silence is full of power. It forces the other person to sit with themselves, to confront their own thoughts, to deal with their own emotions without your involvement. Think about it. When you argue with someone, when you react emotionally, you are feeding them. You are giving them exactly what they want, your energy. But when you remove yourself, when you refuse to play the game, you leave them with nothing. And nothing is the most unsettling thing for someone who thrives on conflict. They cannot fight with silence. They cannot argue with silence. And that is why it is the coldest form of revenge. Because it gives them no closure, no control, no satisfaction. Silence is also a form of discipline. It requires strength to hold back when you want to react. It takes wisdom to know when to walk away. It takes confidence to trust that your lack of response speaks louder than any words ever could. But the moment you master silence, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, you become untouchable. You become someone who cannot be manipulated, someone who cannot be provoked, someone who operates from a place of power rather than emotion. There is a reason why the most powerful individuals in history understood the value of silence. They knew that words could be used against them. They knew that reacting out of emotion could weaken their position. They knew that silence created mystery, and mystery created control. Because when people do not know what you are thinking, they cannot predict your next move. And when they cannot predict your next move, they are left guessing, uncertain, and insecure. That is the power of silence. It shifts control from them to you. But silence is not just a tool for dealing with others. It is also a tool for dealing with yourself. When you practice silence, you give yourself the space to think clearly, to process emotions without external influence, to make decisions from a place of wisdom rather than reaction. Too often, people seek distractions to avoid facing their emotions. They fill their minds with noise, with opinions, with the chaos of the world around them. But silence forces you to sit with yourself. It forces you to confront your thoughts, to listen to your intuition, to find answers that cannot be found in the noise. When you learn to embrace silence, you develop a level of emotional intelligence that sets you apart from the rest. You no longer feel the need to prove anything to anyone. You no longer feel the urge to defend yourself against baseless accusations. You no longer waste energy on meaningless conflicts. You simply observe, process, and move accordingly. And in doing so, you elevate yourself above the chaos. Because while others are busy arguing, reacting, and seeking validation, you are focused, composed, and in control.